Twitter Files number 2, Twitter's secret blacklist. A new hashtag Twitter Files investigation reveals that teams of Twitter employees build blacklists, prevent disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limit the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secrets, without informing users. Twitter once had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. Along the way, barriers nevertheless were erected. Take for example Stanford's Dr. J. Bhattacharya, who argued that COVID lockdowns would harm children. Twitter secretly placed him on a trends blacklist, which prevent his tweets from trending. Or consider the popular right-wing talk show host Dan Bongino, who at one point was slapped with a search blacklist. Twitter set the account of conservative activist Charlie Kirk to do not amplify. Twitter denied that it does such things. In 2018, Twitter's Vijaya Gad, then head of legal policy and trust, and Kaivon Bakepor, head of product, said, we do not shadow ban. They added, and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology. What many people call shadow ban, Twitter executives employee call visibility filtering, or VF. Multiple high-level sources confirmed its meaning. Think about visibility filtering as being a way for us to suppress what people see to different levels. It's a very powerful tool. One senior Twitter employee told us, refers to Twitter's control over user visibility. It used VF to block searches of individual users, to limit the scope of a particular tweet discoverability, to block select users' posts from ever appearing on the trending page, and from inclusion in hashtag searches, all without the user's knowledge. We control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit, and normal people do not know how much we do. Two additional Twitter employees confirmed. The group that decided whether to limit the reach of certain users was the Strategic Response Team, Global Escalation Team, or SRTGET. It often handled up to 200 cases a day, but there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond the rank and file moderators following the company's policy on paper. The rank and file means the normal employees under the manager. That is the Site Integrity Policy Escalation Support, known as SIPPES. This secret group included Head of Legal Policy and Trust, Vijaya Gade, the Global Head of Trust and Safety, Yoel Roth, subsequent CEOs Jack Dorsey and Parag Agrawal, is where the biggest, most politically sensitive decisions got made. Think high follower, controversial. Another Twitter employee told us there would be no ticket or anything. One of the accounts that rose to this level of scrutiny, at LibsofTikTok, an account that was on the Trends blacklist and was designated as do not take action on user without consulting with SIPPES. The account, which Chaya Right began in November 2020 and now boasts over 1.4 million followers, was subjected to 6 suspension in 2022 alone. Says each time Right was blocked from posting for as long as a week. Twitter informed Right that she had been suspended for violating Twitter's policy against hateful conduct, but in an internal SIPPES memo from October 2022, after her 7th suspension, the committee acknowledged that LTT has not directly engaged in behavior violative of the hateful conduct policy. Site policy recommends placing libs of TikTok 1.3 million followers not verified in a 7-day timeout at the account level, meaning not for a specific tweet, based on the account's continued pattern of indirectly violating Twitter's hateful conduct policy by tweeting content that either leads to or intends to incite harassment against individuals and institutions that support the LGBTQ communities. At this time, site policy has not found explicitly violated, which would result in a permanent suspension of the account. This type of enforcement action repeated 7-day timeout at the account level will not lead to permanent suspension. However, should LTT engage in other direct tweet level violation of any of site policies, we will forward with permanent suspension. The committee justified her suspensions internally by claiming her posts encourage online harassment of hospitals and medical providers by insinuating that gender-affirming healthcare is equivalent to child abuse or grooming. Compared this to what happened when Right-Chick herself was doxxed on November 21, 2022. A photo of her home with her address was posted in a tweet that has garnered more than 10,000 likes. When Right-Chick told Twitter that her address has been disseminated, she says Twitter supports responded with this message. We reviewed the reported content and didn't find it to be in violation of the Twitter rules. No action was taken. The doxing tweet is still up. And in internal Slack messages, Twitter employees spoke of using technicalities to restrict the visibility of tweets and subject. Here's Yoel Roth, Twitter's then global head of trust and safety, in a direct message to a lot of times. Site integrity has used technicality spam enforcement as a way to solve a problem created by safety under enforcing their policies, which again isn't a problem per se, but it keeps us from addressing the root cause of the issue, which is that our safety policies need some attention. 6 days later, in a direct message with an employee on the health misinformation, privacy and identity research team, Roth requested more research to support expanding non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification visibility filtering. One of the biggest areas I'd love research support on is non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification visibility filtering. The hypothesis underlying much of what we've implemented is that if exposure to, example, misinformation directly cause harm, which we should use remediations that reduce exposure, and limiting the spread and virality of content is a good way to do that. By just reducing prevalence overall, we got Jack on board with implementing this for civic integrity in the near term, but we're going to need to make a more robust case to get this into our repertoire of policy remediations, especially for other policy domains, so I'd love researchers' POV on that. Roth wrote, the hypothesis underlying much of what we've implemented is that if exposure to examples of misinformation directly causes harm, we should use remediations that reduce exposure, and limiting the spread of virality of content is a good way to do that. And that should be the end of the Twitter files number 2. So this tells us about a lot of thoughts about leaders, not just on the blacklist. The blacklist was the effect of the much more relevant cause of what I think. That cause is the mindset of the leaders, as we have viewed here, was misinformation. The way to prevent direct harm from social media to alleviate misinformation, that belief is what I think is their main mentality on responsibility on this side, and their excuses on censorship. This tells also us they think we are children. Millions of us sort of have this collective mind where it can be shaped like clay. We do not